There's a myth that keeps so many women exhausted in dating. It says you have to impress him. You have to outshine every other woman. You have to say the perfect thing, look flawless, and always keep him entertained. But here's what most people never tell you. The gestures that truly melt a man's heart are rarely loud, dramatic, or attention-seeking. They are subtle. They are feminine. And most women never use them because they seem too simple to matter. The truth? Men don't fall hardest for performance. They fall for how they feel around you. And certain small, intentional gestures create a feeling so powerful that it lingers long after the moment ends. Today, I'm going to show you 4 feminine gestures that instantly soften his heart, not because they manipulate him, but because they awaken something deep and instinctive inside him. The first gesture is intentional eye contact with warmth. Not the kind of stare that feels interrogative, not the distracted glance while you check your phone. I'm talking about soft, grounded eye contact when he's speaking. When you hold his gaze for a second longer than usual and let your expression say, "I'm here with you." That small moment communicates respect. It tells him he matters. In a world where most conversations are half-attended, your full presence feels rare, and rare feels valuable. The second gesture is sincere appreciation for specific effort. Most women thank a man for what he gives. Very few acknowledge the effort behind it. Instead of thanks for dinner, imagine saying, "I know you had a long day, and you still made time for this." That means a lot. Now he doesn't just feel useful, he feels seen. When a man feels seen for his effort, something shifts. His investment grows because his contribution feels meaningful. The third gesture is soft physical reassurance in small moments. A gentle touch on his arm when he shares something vulnerable. Leaning slightly closer when he's telling a story. Resting your hand on his back as you pass by. These micro gestures communicate warmth without words. Physical softness lowers emotional defenses. It tells him he is safe to open up. And when a man feels emotionally safe with you, his heart begins to attach. The fourth gesture is receptive joy. This one surprises people. When he teases you playfully, when he plans something small, when he tries, allow yourself to genuinely enjoy it. Smile fully, laugh freely. Let him see that his effort creates happiness. Men are wired to move toward what feels rewarding. When your response is warm and authentic, he associates you with emotional fulfillment, and that association becomes powerful. None of these gestures require you to change who you are. They require you to slow down, to soften, to be present. And here's the deeper truth. The woman who melts a man's heart isn't the loudest in the room. She's the one who makes him feel most understood when she's standing right in front of him. When we talk about attraction, most people immediately think about chemistry, flirting, appearance, or witty conversation. But what actually creates depth in a connection is something far less dramatic and far more powerful: emotional safety. A man may feel intrigued by beauty. He may feel stimulated by banter, but he bonds through safety. And this is where many women unknowingly exhaust themselves, trying to perform instead of trying to connect. Emotional safety means he does not feel judged, attacked, tested, or constantly evaluated in your presence. It means he can express a thought without fearing it will be used against him later. It means he can admit uncertainty without feeling diminished. It means he can show ambition without feeling mocked and vulnerability without feeling weak. When a man senses that he can relax around you, that his guard does not need to stay up, something shifts in him. Performance, on the other hand, creates tension. When a woman feels she must impress, she overtalks, overexplains, overproves. She tries to be endlessly interesting, endlessly agreeable, endlessly desirable. Ironically, this creates subtle pressure. He feels he is being sold something rather than invited into something real. Performance may create excitement, but it rarely creates attachment. Safety is built in the micro moments. It is in the way you respond when he shares an opinion you don't fully agree with. Instead of immediately correcting him, you might say, "That's interesting. Tell me more about why you see it that way." That single response tells him he won't be shut down. It is in the way you react when he admits a mistake. Instead of shaming, you acknowledge effort. Instead of sarcasm, you show curiosity. This does not mean you suppress your standards or silence your needs. Emotional safety is not about being passive. It is about being grounded. When you are secure in yourself, you don't need to win every interaction. You don't need to dominate the conversation. You don't need to test his devotion to feel reassured. Your calm becomes contagious. There is also a biological layer to this. When someone feels threatened, emotionally or socially, the body activates stress responses. Walls go up, defenses rise. But when someone feels safe, stress lowers. The nervous system relaxes. And in that relaxed state, bonding chemicals increase. In simple terms, safety allows attachment to grow. Think about the difference between a conversation where you feel criticized and one where you feel understood. In the first, you monitor every word. In the second, you lean in. Men are no different. When a man feels he can be fully himself without being diminished, he doesn't just enjoy your company, he values it. What makes this so powerful is that emotional safety is rare. Many men grow up being told to suppress feelings, to appear strong, to avoid vulnerability. When they meet a woman who does not mock softness, who does not weaponize insecurities, who does not create drama to feel desired, that woman stands out immediately. And here is the paradox. Safety does not make you less attractive. It makes you magnetic. Because the strongest men are not looking for constant challenge inside their relationship. They already face challenge in the world. What they crave, often silently, is a place where they can exhale. So instead of asking, how can I impress him? A more powerful question becomes, how can I create a space where he feels at ease? The answer is found in patience, attentive listening, warmth in tone, and measured reactions. It is found in allowing moments to breathe instead of filling them with noise. Attraction may spark from excitement, but attachment grows from safety. And the woman who understands this does not chase intensity. She cultivates calm strength. She becomes the person he associates with peace, understanding, and acceptance. And once a man connects your presence with those feelings, his heart doesn't just feel drawn, it feels anchored. Many women are taught, directly or indirectly, that if they want to keep a man's interest, they must do more. Text first, plan more, give more, initiate more, prove more. The idea is that effort equals value. But when it comes to romantic polarity and emotional investment, constant pursuit can quietly work against you. Receptivity, not overexertion, is often what creates depth. Receptivity is not passivity. It is not silence. It is not pretending you don't care. Receptivity is the ability to allow. It is the strength to lean back emotionally, just enough to let him step forward. It is responding warmly when he reaches out instead of anxiously filling every gap in communication. It is creating space for him to contribute rather than unconsciously taking over the entire dynamic. When a woman constantly drives the momentum, she may feel secure in control, but she also removes his opportunity to invest. An investment is what builds attachment. People value what they work for. When he has room to initiate, plan, solve, and show up, he develops a sense of ownership in the connection. That ownership deepens his commitment. Over-pursuit often comes from fear. Fear of losing him. Fear of being forgotten. Fear that if you don't hold the connection together, it will fall apart. But relationships that only survive because one person is carrying them are fragile by nature. Receptivity requires trust. Trust that if he is interested, he will move toward you. There is also a psychological dynamic at play. When someone feels chased, they subconsciously relax. When someone feels they must earn something, they lean in. This does not mean playing games or creating artificial scarcity. It means allowing natural rhythm. If he plans a date, receive it with appreciation instead of immediately counter-offering something better. If he compliments you, accept it instead of deflecting. If he reaches out, respond with warmth rather than doubling the effort to prove enthusiasm. Receptivity also shows emotional maturity. It signals that you are secure enough not to force outcomes. When you don't rush the pace, pressure the timeline, or demand constant reassurance, you communicate confidence. And confidence is calming. A grounded woman who can enjoy the moment without trying to control the future feels powerful without being aggressive. Another important layer is how receptivity enhances feminine energy. Warmth, openness, and responsiveness create an inviting atmosphere. It says, there is space for you here. Men often respond strongly to that invitation because it makes them feel capable. It activates their desire to show up, to protect, to provide, to pursue. When they feel their efforts land well, they naturally want to continue. Contrast that with overgiving. When a woman anticipates every need before he expresses it, fixes every problem before he attempts to solve it, or showers him with constant validation without receiving equal effort, the dynamic becomes imbalanced. He may appreciate it, but he does not feel the pull to rise. Without the need to step up, his investment plateaus. Receptivity also protects your dignity. When you allow a man to demonstrate interest through action, you gain clarity. If he steps forward consistently, you know his intentions align with yours. If he does not, you learn that early without overextending yourself emotionally. Pursuit can sometimes blur reality. Receptivity reveals it. The subtle art lies in balance. Express interest, but don't chase. Show warmth, but don't overcompensate. Initiate occasionally, but don't carry the entire dynamic. When he moves closer, welcome him. When he pauses, give space rather than pushing. That space often invites him to lean back in. Receptivity is powerful because it shifts the energy from convincing to allowing. You are not trying to prove your worth. You are embodying it. You are not scrambling to secure attention. You are calmly observing who steps up to meet you. And when a man feels that he is choosing you rather than being dragged forward by your effort, his attraction grows stronger. Because what he moves toward willingly is what he values deeply. Most people underestimate how relationships are actually built. They think it's the grand vacations, the dramatic confessions, the anniversaries, or the big romantic gestures that determine whether someone falls deeply in love. But long-term emotional attachment is rarely formed in the extraordinary moments. It is shaped in the ordinary ones, the micro moments, the subtle exchanges that happen daily and often go unnoticed. A micro moment is a brief interaction that carries emotional weight far beyond its length. It might last only seconds. A certain look, a pause before you respond, the softness in your voice when you say his name. These moments seem small, but they accumulate, and over time they build emotional memory. Emotional memory is powerful because it operates beneath logic. A man may not consciously think, that was the moment I began to care more, but his nervous system registers how he feels around you. If he consistently feels calm, appreciated, and understood in these tiny exchanges, his body associates you with comfort and reward, and that association creates attachment. Consider eye contact, not dramatic staring, but when he's telling you something and you hold his gaze, fully attentive without interruption. In that small moment, you signal respect, you signal interest, you signal presence. In a world filled with distraction, phones, notifications, divided attention, that level of focus feels rare, and rare experiences stand out. Tone of voice is another micro moment most people overlook. You can say the same words with irritation or with warmth, and they will land completely differently. A soft, steady tone communicates safety. A sharp, reactive tone triggers defensiveness. Over time, he will gravitate toward the emotional atmosphere that feels more welcoming. There's also the power of acknowledgement. When he shares something, instead of immediately shifting the focus back to yourself, you might say, that must have taken a lot of effort, or I can see why that mattered to you. These brief affirmations create emotional validation. And validation is one of the most addictive experiences in connection. It makes a person feel seen without being analyzed. Micro gestures of touch carry similar weight. A gentle squeeze of his hand when he's driving. A brief touch on his arm when you laugh. Leaning slightly closer instead of pulling away. These are not dramatic displays of affection. They are subtle signals of warmth. Physical reassurance in small doses lowers emotional barriers without overwhelming him. Even the way you react to silence matters. Many people rush to fill quiet moments because they feel uncomfortable. But if you can sit in silence without tension, without anxiety, you communicate confidence. That comfort tells him he doesn't have to perform to keep your attention. He can simply be. The accumulation of these micro moments creates something deeper than excitement. It creates familiarity with positive emotion. And familiarity builds attachment. If every time he leaves you, he carries a lingering sense of calm or warmth from those small exchanges, he begins to crave being around you, not because of intensity, but because of consistency. This is also why inconsistency in small behaviors can damage connection. If one day you're warm and attentive, and the next you're cold or dismissive without explanation, the emotional memory becomes unstable. The nervous system becomes cautious. Consistency in micro moments builds trust. What makes this principle powerful is that it shifts the focus from trying to impress to trying to connect. You don't need to orchestrate extraordinary dates. You don't need to constantly entertain. You need to master presence in the seconds that matter. Over time, these seconds stack. And what began as simple, almost invisible gestures becomes a foundation. He may not be able to articulate why he feels drawn, why he feels comfortable opening up, why he feels more invested than before. But the answer lies in those micro moments, the subtle, repeated experiences where he felt respected, appreciated, and emotionally safe. Big gestures create stories. Micro moments create bonds. And bonds are what keep a man's heart anchored long after the excitement settles. There is a profound difference between acknowledging what someone does and acknowledging the effort behind what they do. Most people thank results. Very few recognize intention. And when it comes to a man's emotional investment, that difference matters more than many realize. Effort is deeply tied to identity. For many men, contributing, solving, building, planning, and protecting are not just actions. They are expressions of worth. When his effort goes unnoticed, it quietly discourages him. Not because he needs applause for every small act, but because effort without acknowledgement feels invisible. Over time, invisibility reduces motivation. Appreciation, when it is specific and sincere, does something powerful. It tells him, I see you. Not just the outcome, but the energy you put into this. That recognition affirms competence. It affirms capability. And most importantly, it affirms that his presence makes a difference in your life. This is why vague praise has limited impact. Your amazing feels good, but it fades quickly. Compare that to, I know you were exhausted, but you still made time to help me with this. That meant a lot. Now the appreciation is tied to effort. It highlights sacrifice. It shows awareness. It demonstrates emotional attentiveness. When a man feels that his effort lands, when he sees the emotional impact of what he does, his natural instinct is to do more. Not out of obligation, but out of desire. Appreciation activates pride, and pride, when healthy, fuels consistency. There is also a psychological mechanism at play. Humans repeat behaviors that feel rewarded. If his attempts to show up are met with warmth and gratitude, those behaviors strengthen. If they are ignored or criticized, they weaken. This doesn't mean you should praise mediocrity or lower your standards. It means recognizing genuine effort when it appears. Another layer to this dynamic is how appreciation softens defensiveness. If he feels that nothing he does is enough, he may withdraw emotionally. But when he feels valued for trying, even imperfectly, he becomes more open to growth. A man who feels appreciated is more receptive to feedback because he does not feel constantly judged. It's also important to understand that appreciation is not about dependency. You are not thanking him because you cannot function without him. You are acknowledging that his contribution enhances your experience. That distinction preserves strength while expressing warmth. Tone matters here as well. Appreciation delivered casually, with eye contact and sincerity, carries far more weight than exaggerated praise. It should feel natural, not strategic. The goal is not manipulation, it is connection. And here's something many overlook. Appreciation can be expressed not only in words, but in reaction. When he plans something small, allow yourself to genuinely enjoy it. Smile, engage. Let him see the positive emotional result of his effort. When he offers support, soften instead of brushing it off. That visible response reinforces his role in your life. Over time, consistent appreciation creates emotional loyalty. He begins to associate you with encouragement rather than criticism. He feels stronger around you rather than diminished. That emotional environment becomes addictive in the healthiest way. He feels like a better version of himself in your presence. In relationships, resentment often grows where appreciation fades. People focus on what is missing rather than what is being given. But when effort is acknowledged regularly, it shifts the emotional tone of the connection. It creates partnership rather than competition. A man who feels seen for his effort does not feel like he is constantly auditioning. He feels chosen. And when a man feels chosen and valued, his protective and providing instincts strengthen naturally. He invests not because he has to, but because he wants to continue earning the appreciation that makes him feel significant. And significance in love is everything. In a world filled with distraction, divided attention has become normal. Conversations happen while scrolling, dinners happen while checking notifications. Even intimate moments are often interrupted by mental noise about what's next. This is why emotional presence has become one of the rarest and most powerful qualities in modern connection. When you are fully present with someone, you offer something that feels increasingly uncommon and therefore deeply valuable. Emotional presence means your body and mind are in the same place at the same time. It means when he speaks, you're not rehearsing your response while he's still mid-sentence. You're not scanning the room to see who else is watching. You're not subtly signaling boredom through impatience. You are simply there, attentive, grounded, engaged. This kind of presence communicates respect without saying a word. It tells him, right now, you matter. That message, delivered consistently, builds emotional security. When someone feels that your attention isn't constantly drifting, they begin to relax. And relaxation opens the door to vulnerability. Presence also amplifies emotional depth. When he shares something meaningful and you respond thoughtfully, pausing before you speak, reflecting back what you heard, it creates a sense of being understood. Being understood is one of the most bonding human experiences. It makes a person feel less alone in their inner world. There is something powerful about a woman who can hold space without rushing to fix, judge, or redirect. If he expresses frustration, instead of immediately offering solutions, you might simply say, "That sounds heavy," and let him expand. That stillness invites him to go deeper. Many men are not accustomed to having their emotions explored gently. When they encounter it, it stands out. Emotional presence also requires self-regulation. If every minor comment triggers a strong reaction, the space feels unstable. But when you are grounded, when you respond rather than react, you create steadiness. That steadiness becomes magnetic. He knows he can express himself without walking on eggshells. Another aspect of presence is eye contact, combined with calm energy. Not intense staring, but relaxed attention. It signals confidence. It says you are comfortable in the moment and do not need constant stimulation to feel secure. Comfort in silence is particularly powerful. When two people can sit quietly without anxiety, it indicates emotional safety. Presence also enhances attraction because it makes interactions feel richer. A simple compliment delivered with focused attention carries more weight than dramatic praise delivered distractedly. A shared laugh feels deeper when you are truly engaged. The quality of the moment improves because your awareness is fully invested. When a man feels that you are fully with him, he associates you with clarity and calm. Compare that to interactions where he feels half acknowledged. Over time, he will gravitate toward the environment that feels more centered. Emotional presence creates that environment. Importantly, presence is not about losing yourself in him. It is about being anchored in yourself while engaging openly. You maintain your identity, your boundaries, your opinions, but you express them thoughtfully rather than impulsively. That balance of strength and softness leaves a lasting impression. The woman who is emotionally present does not compete for attention. She commands it quietly. Her focus feels intentional. Her responses feel measured. Her energy feels steady. In her presence, chaos softens. Over time, this consistency builds irreplaceability. He may meet others who are exciting, loud, or dramatic, but few will make him feel truly heard. Few will create a space where he can exhale without performance. Few will offer that rare combination of warmth and grounded calm. And when someone becomes the person you associate with feeling understood and at peace, they are not easily forgotten. Emotional presence turns ordinary moments into meaningful ones. It transforms conversation into connection. And connection, sustained through presence, is what makes a bond endure long after surface level attraction fades. So when you step back and look at all of this, you begin to see the pattern. None of these gestures are loud. None of them require you to compete, overperform, or exhaust yourself trying to secure his attention. They are subtle shifts in awareness. A warmer gaze, a softer tone, a moment of genuine appreciation, the courage to lean back and allow him to step forward, the discipline to be fully present instead of distracted. The truth is, melting a man's heart isn't about strategy. It's about emotional intelligence. It's about understanding that attachment grows in the spaces where someone feels safe, valued, and understood. When you create that space, you're not manipulating him. You're revealing the kind of connection most people rarely experience. And here's the real power. These gestures don't just influence him. They elevate you. They shift you out of anxiety and into grounded confidence. They allow you to show up with warmth without losing your strength. Because the woman who truly captures a man's heart isn't the one who tries the hardest. She's the one who makes him feel the most at home in her presence.